Hello everyone, Zellerant here, and for today's video on Umamusume, as pre-registrations have started for the Libra Cup, I thought now would be a great time to take a look at the next CM so you can start preparing your parents for it, which is going to be Scorpio Cup. Now this will be just a first look at it, and we're not going to go too into depth on everything you might want to know about it, but a first look just so you can get some idea of some parents that you might want to bring. So going into the Scorpio Cup or CM19, we're going to be going back to another medium track. So just like with the dirt track, dirt medium here, Summer Goldship is going to be making it another hectic race for debuffers, especially in this one, as this is another Christmas Oguri Cup. As Christmas Oguri Cap will be very strong here. Luckily, you'll have a lot more options outside of her because it is turf versus dirt. Now, on this one, it is Kyoto turf, so it is 2,200 meters, so a little bit longer than the dirt one. It is right-handed, firm conditions. It is still fall as well as being sunny. So at least when it comes to the speed skills on this one, you can continue to use your fine motion card, bringing in both the fall runner and right-handed, and as well as firm conditions being fairly easy to get in all kinds of other places. And so with Kyoto, like I said, it is going to be another Oguri Cup. Just like the last two. Luckily, the Mile Oguri Cap wasn't stupidly dominant, but she was very strong in the end closer position. This is going to be the same case here in the Kyoto 2200 as we take a look at the racetrack itself. Now, unlike the previous one where it was the Agnes Tachyon alt U equals MA squared that you paired alongside the 777s to have a very good speed carryover with acceleration, this time it is after school stroll with 777s, just like the mile. As you can see here, there's the downhill and 777s right in the perfect positioning to get your speed carryover as well as some acceleration there. And then you have a lot of other options kind of going into it as well. Now it is a third corner, not a final corner one here. So certain alts like OG Maruzenskis are not going to be any good here because this is quite late in it. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this might have been the same track that we had for Leo Cup. Not the previous Leo Cup, but the one way before that. While you can get some acceleration off it, it is still way too late to really want to take advantage of that. Of course, like Taiki Shuttles is very late because it's way down here. And so just know all the final corner type excels will not be all that good. And then you also have the problem of some of the skills that are final corner skills that are speeds. A big one that probably is the most relevant here you can think of for Pace Chasers would be Speed Star. There is a high potential that it could activate in the acceleration zone where you're still accelerating and thus not able to take advantage of it, so it's has way less value than something else that might activate a little bit later, especially like the final straightaway here. And so the main accelerations you're looking at, of course, you have End Closer, Christmas Oguri Cap, but you can also build Late Surger or Pace Chaser Christmas Oguri Cap. As 777s does work. I'm personally looking at building Pace Chaser over End Closer just because it would be so much easier to build and get very high stats. Just know you don't really have that backup with the after school stroll, so you have two skills that can activate her alt. You only have the one, so really high wit. You're only looking at like a 70% chance to actually activate her alt perfect timing. One thing you can do, and this is kind of my plan around building her as Pace Chaser, is build around some of the other accelerations. Of course, you can have No Stopping Me / Nimble Navigator for some acceleration. You have Head On. Now, really can't get easy access to neck and neck on like Christmas Oguri Cap, but you might be able to get it on something else. Another Uma you might want to build like Camping Taiki Shuttle, who has it built in as potential for that. But you have that for your back enders. I know one that a lot of people might like here just because of where the downhill is you have like Camping Dober, who'll bring you have the downhill with her alt. You have From the Brink, which is kind of an on your left, but for mediums. And then you, of course, have on your left, so two big gamble ones there. Late Surge's having a ton of gamble alongside, like, Nimble Nav. Of course, Major Orion, OG Major Dober's accelerations works here. And then also being on the corner, you, of course, have Seiyun Sky. Front runners here, not really having too many options outside of angling and scheming. And so one option, and this is kind of my plan with my Christmas Oguri for a backup acceleration, is putting angling and scheming on your pace chasers. If you bring no front runners yourself, you can build your pace chasers to be very strong at trying to take and steal angling and scheming as a secondary kind of acceleration. Pairing that on a Christmas Oguri cap is kind of where I'm looking at. Plus having something like Nimble Nav or Head On. So even if we don't steal angling and scheming, we can just get some acceleration off of hitting the back of the front runners for like a Nimble Nav or something. And so there's a lot of different options on this track. Now I'm talking a lot about Christmas Oguri cap, but she's by no means the only one you can use. She'll be probably the most dominant, the one you'll see the most. But you can pretty much make anybody work here in the same respect that we've seen plenty of decent ones work on the dirt. The only difference being this one's turf, so you have a lot more options and it's a lot easier to build something very strong. And of course, you'll have Umas like Simbly, Rudolph, and all those that you can. You have those alts for big speed towards the end. You're gonna look for like Fuji Kiseki. You have TM Opera O New Year's. You're going to want a lot of the last straight speed skills to try and help you push you over that hump, especially if you're bringing like a pace chaser one like I am, so that you can keep your speed up to fight off if you're running into like a really strong end closer Christmas Oguri cap or even a late surger that's taking off. So you're going to need a lot of those extra speed skills. But overall, this is being a medium. You can expect, especially people that build really strong Umas, to go in with the double dom or the Kenai, or Kenai double dom, or dom with Kenai, or Mystifying Murmur, because being another medium and a little bit longer, while this one does have the downhill here, it's at the very end, this one's going to have pretty strict stamina requirements. We can kind of look at it here from the original guide here on the carrot calculator that Henry Handsome has. You kind of have their thoughts on what some of the meta Umas are. Looking at it, I mean, this is kind of what I've seen to be kind of true. You have Christmas Oguri Cap being extremely strong by herself, but the strongest outside of her being your pace chasers. There's quite a few good ones on here. Of course, you have Major Dober and Ryan with their alts that work there. Although one I would say that would be another good late surger that they don't have here would be Camping Dober, as you can see right here. Recommended skill, Camping Dober has that speed carryover. Why couldn't you build her yourself? Because she has that, plus she has On the Brink built in as another kind of gamble that you can pair with On Your Left, or Run the Brink, or whatever it's called. And so overall, pretty good. Now, it might be because the guide's not really up to date for the 2-year anniversary stuff we got. But then again, On Your Left also got buffed. So I'm not 100% sure on that, but I feel like she'll be plenty fine here as well. End closers, outside of Christmas Oguri Cap, I feel like we'll have the hardest time here. Just because there's a lot of options for pace chasers. To me, Grand Live is really good just for pace chasers in general, because, I mean, Agnes Tachyon Speed is such a good card during it. And she just hands you everything you need, especially on mediums, because she has the medium corners and that stuff. Plus, she has pace chasers, straightaways, and corner. You can just literally get everything off of that card, pretty much. It gives you a lot of flexibility in there. But as you kind of get into what I was talking about here, on the stamina side of things, much higher here. Trying to get over 1,000. You can give it a little bit less there. If you're willing to get that 1 gold heal, which is I think what a lot of people are going to do. This is going to be another case of you probably want to try and bring your Super Creek for your heal, or maybe if you don't have Super Creek, maybe another one, and you pair it with a Tosin Jordan speed to maybe get your breath of fresh air, or any other variation of gold heal in here. But it will be definitely a little bit harder to hit the stamina requirements, just like the dirt one. As you can kind of see here, some of the recommendations on the decks. When you got your typical deck. A lot of people at this point, if you've been playing since day one, should have the bulk of the cards down here. It pretty much just works. And actually, a card I didn't even think about, Major Arden, which you have, does have Race Planner built in. So if you're new and you just got that card as one of your speed cards, that can get you your heal. But it's going to be, to me, it's going to be really tricky. Like some of the decks here are showing, like this one right here, no stamina card. I mean, if you can get the stamina without the stamina card, you have a lot of stamina sparks, that can work. But to me, you're definitely going to want to bring something. kind of offset that. But yeah, that's pretty much the stuff there. It's just going to be another medium. Just know that it's going to be debuffer hell again. Debuffs will be continuing to be a problem in mediums. You'll probably see them a little bit in miles, like with the mile that we have coming up here soon, just because Key 9 Dominate works there. But it's a lot harder to build an Uma like this one that can just outright dominate by themselves, like Christmas Oguri Cap. So it'll just be debuffer hell again. You just want to protect yourself a little bit on that respect. I do know just now from kind of my thoughts on seeing with the dirt one, a lot of people were lower on the stamina side, so Mystifying Murmur was definitely the way to go. Even in the finals, a lot of people had a lot less stamina, which was kind of one of the things I predicted. That because a lot of people are wanting to go with the Dominate Kenai way, people are going to build very strong aces that might be a little bit lower on the stamina side, but they survive against the non-Mystifying Murmur rooms, and thus make it to the finals and make it where actually Mystifying Murmur could be the stronger way to go versus a Kenai Dominate setup. But that is kind of the Kyoto 2200 CM for Scorpio Cup. Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. It's another interesting one with medium. It's going to be our second one, but this time turf instead of dirt, to really see if people can surpass the Oguri caps and beat them. Of course, I'm building one just because it's the easy way to go, but I am thinking about going with more than one ace this time versus just going Christmas Oguri cap and 2 debuffers, primarily because it is turf. I feel like this one will be a little bit easier for most people to build for than the dirt. We'll just have to see how it goes, but that's going to be pretty much it for this video. And if you like my content, if you can like, comment, subscribe, it really helps, and thanks for watching.